Hello YouTube, my name is Mike, and in this video I would kind of like to warn people about this product here. So this is the Lizard AO5000 spinning reel. I got this from Amazon, and before we get into that, I would kind of like to explain how we got here, and hopefully people can learn from this little situation. All right, so I currently live in San Diego. I like to fish the local piers and some of the inland lakes and that sort of thing. And I've come to a realization that there are two types of fishing that people do. All right. So there's active fishing, and that's where you would take a lure, you'd tie it to the end of your line, you'd cast out, you'd reel in, you'd cast out, you'd reel in. That's active fishing. You are actively participating in the act of fishing. Okay. Active fishing. Passive fishing is where you would tie a rig to the end of your line. You would cast out, let that rig hit the bottom, and then you'd set your pole into a holder and you just wait. That's passive fishing. You are not actively fishing, So that's passive fishing. Now, about a year ago, I had a setup similar to this. So this is a Shakespeare Ugly Stick GX2 combo, comes with the reel, and this is a fantastic setup. Okay, in general, you can't go wrong with this. I've been fishing since I was a kid, so I'm 37 now. About 30 years ago, I was fishing with Shakespeare, and I've never broken one of these poles, never. So I believe that's because of this. So if you look at the rod tip, it's got a clear section. And if you look at this, it looks like it's got some spring steel that is molded into the shaft. And I believe that's where the strength of these poles come from. So don't let the name fool you. Just because these things are sold at Walmart does not make them cheap. This is an inexpensive pole. This is not cheap, all right? Now, for the reel, this is just a basic GX2 spinning reel. There is really nothing special about this. You've got your main drag, your spool, your bail, and then your handle. All right, nothing special. Now, there are three problems with this reel that I can think of. So, like I said, I like to fish my local piers. One of those piers has a 20-foot drop from the top of a railing to the top of the water. There's 20 feet, all right? Now, this handle just cannot tolerate that sort of weight, that dead weight. So trying to haul in, 5 to 10 pounds up 20 feet is just too much strain for this handle to take, and you'll end up breaking it. So if you already own one of these reels, then you'd probably recognize this is not the same handle. So I've broken two of these handles. I've got a couple of these reels. I've broken two of these handles, and I had to go to Amazon and get replacement parts for them. So that's problem number one, is the handle. It just cannot tolerate heavy weight. Number two is if you are passive fishing, all right? So you would tie a rig to the end of your line, you would cast out, you'd stick this into a rod holder, and then you just wait. If you forget to loosen the drag on this and a big fish takes your line and starts running, it's going to suck your entire pole into the water. Now you just lost your entire setup. So that's problem number two. Problem number three is the opposite. If you have your drag set so light that a big fish will just strip line, well, now you got to run over, pick up your pole, and then sit here and wind your drag until it's tight enough that you can fight that fish, all right? Well, you just lost all of that time, and you could have lost that fish. That's just a chance I'm not willing to take, okay? I'll explain why in a little bit, but you just lost all of that time, and you could have lost that fish. That sort of thing happens, So I was thinking, what if I just go to Amazon and get a better quality fishing reel then I don't have to worry about the handle breaking on me. In my research, I found this. This is my current setup. This is a KastKing Sharkie BaitFeeder III. All right. And what makes this so special is it has a dual drag system. So for this reel, it's considered a bait feeder, okay? So the way this works is you have your main drag up here, and then you have a secondary drag back here. So to adjust this, you would set your main drag until it's light enough that it won't snap your string, but tight enough that you can fight a fish. And then back here, all you have to do is flip this lever up. It disengages your primary drag and activates your secondary drag back here. Now to adjust this, all you have to do is pull on your string and get it light enough so that it just strips in case a fish takes off and runs, all right? So this was designed, pretty sure this was designed for trolling. So on the back of a boat, you would take this and you would stick it into a rod holder, and then you would adjust your secondary drag tight enough so that it doesn't strip line from being pulled into the current, but weak enough that if a big fish grabs that line and runs, it's just going to strip, okay? So that's what's so special about this reel. Now, the way I use this is for passive fishing. This is probably the most ideal setup for passive fishing. I tie a rig to the end of my line, I cast out, I stick the pole into a holder, and then all I have to do is flip that lever up. Now there's no time wasted, because once you start reeling, you're going to hit a wall. And then if you continue reeling, it disengages this lever, disengages your secondary drag, and activates your primary drag. And now you can fight that fish. It's pretty cool. So this reel is what put the bait feeder on my radar. All right. Now I wanted to get into surf fishing. Shakespeare doesn't make a surf rod. They don't. I mean, they make the big water and a couple other things like the catfish poles. But as a Marine, I want uniformity among my gear. And my color scheme is red, black, and white. So since Shakespeare does not make a surf rod in the red and black and white livery like the GX2 does, I had to pass on Shakespeare and go for Penn. Now, Penn makes they make a whole bunch of different models with the red, black, and white livery, and I like this. It's very clean. It's a good looking pole. So I ended up getting 2 of the Penn Prevail 2s. Most states you can only fish with 2 poles, so I ended up getting 2 of the Penn Prevails so that I could fish with 2 poles. You know what I'm saying? Well, I like that KastKing so much that I ended up buying a 4000 for my big water, my Shakespeare Ugly Stick big water. Now that's like a 7-foot pole. It's just not long enough for surf fishing. So I ended up getting the Penn Prevail 2 because this is an 11-foot, all right? Almost twice as long as that big water. If Shakespeare made a surf pole that was 11 foot and had a red, black, and white livery, they would have gotten my money all day long. But since they don't make one, I had to go with Penn. Now, here's the deal. I already have a 3000 series KastKing, and then I like that one so much I bought a 4000. So my rationale was, do I buy another KastKing 4000 so I can have uniformity on my Penn Prevails, or do I try buying a couple different reels and seeing what I like? All right. So this is where the problem came in. I ordered 2 of the AO5000s before I made up my mind to buy another KastKing, and they came in a brown box. The box wasn't damaged. I opened it up, and this is what I saw. This was the box that the AO5000 came in. Okay, so you can see it was dented, it was ripped, and this box wasn't so bad, but you can see it was dented, and that's about the biggest damage this box took. But this one is what I saw first, and my hopes were almost shot until I opened it. I opened it from the bottom, and I noticed that the reel itself was fine. Okay, so it seems like a good reel. I haven't used it yet, so this isn't a review or an overview or anything, but I went and looked on the Amazon website. I found the Alomejor store right here, and I knew that there was a 30-day window. See, there's a 30-day refund replacement window. So I thought, okay, cool. If I buy these two, I can see if I like them, and if I don't, I can return it. No big deal. That was before I made my mind up about buying another KastKing. Well, I ended up buying another KastKing, and then I thought, I'm just going to return these. So I went to the return part, and I kind of thought it was weird because most stores have a QR code. So if you want to return your product, you just box up your... Sometimes you don't even have to. You just take your product to the UPS store, you show them the QR code, they scan that QR code, and then they take that product, they box it, and they ship it back to the store that you got this from, okay? Well, not with this one. So for the Lizard AO5000, this is a different procedure. You have to print off a barcode, you stick that in the box, which is sometimes normal for other products that don't use the QR code, but the QR code is the most convenient, especially if you don't have to box it, all right? But what I thought was weird is the mailing label. This little strip here is all they gave me to send this back. So I took this to the UPS store. I had it all packaged, ready for them to ship. And she said, oh, this is a Chinese address. I don't mean to pry, but how much was your product? And I said it was like $70. I mean, these things are what, $33.03, right? So about $70 total for two of them. And she said, well, I got bad news, because if you want to return this, it has to go back to China, and shipping is going to cost you about $400. So I was like, what? $400 to ship two fishing reels back to China that only cost $33 each. So that's how I ended up keeping two of these reels. I mean, the reels don't seem like they're bad quality. I have no choice but to use them now, so I will be using them with the Penn Prevail. But these little situations put this store on my radar now, because I went back to the store and I realized there's no reviews. Okay, so I assume as a seller, you can turn reviews on or off, right? Well, they turned them off. And now I'm wondering, why did they turn it off? Well, it's because shipping costs $400 to ship those reels back to China. So as a Marine, we're taught to say something when we see something wrong. Well, I'm telling you right now, there's something wrong with this store. The fact that they did not turn reviews on means they know it's going to cost us hundreds of dollars to ship their item back. Okay, so that's just shady. That is shady business, and I don't agree with it at all. It makes me mad when people are shady like that, and they know what they're doing. So in my opinion, I would leave this alone, especially if you like tinkering, not tinkering, but fixing products that break. You know what I'm saying? So in the future, if this bail breaks on me and I can't replace it, I mean, I would try to replace it, but I mean, where do I go to get parts, you know? I doubt that manufacturer is going to help me out, especially when these are only $33. I understand that we live in a throwaway society where, you know, these things are only, they're cheap, you know? You buy a cheap product, you break it, you just throw it away. I don't believe in that. If one of my products, no matter what it is, if one of my products breaks, I try my best to try and get a replacement part. Now, that's why I really appreciate KastKing, and I'll show you why. So this is the KastKing Sharkie box, and it's not damaged. It comes with an additional spool. So for $15 more, I could have gotten one of these things. And it comes with an additional spool. It comes with a KastKing sticker, and it comes with replacement rubber washers, and it comes with stickers, so you can write the the type of line that you're using. Okay, if you look on the inside of this, you can fill this out, put it onto the spool on the inside, and then it tells you, it tells you what type of line is on there. You can even date it and say when it was done. You know what I'm saying? So not only that, but I believe in this case you do get what you pay for, because if you look at this section compared to the AO5000 here, this is just a basic shaft with a gear, right? On the KastKing here, you've got an actual double bearing system on this shaft. So that's going to reduce abrasion and that sort of thing. So they want your reel to last as long as possible. And seeing this tells me they take pride in what they're doing, right? So I'm just saying sometimes it doesn't pay up to go cheap on things. In this case, since I can't return these reels, they're gonna go on the Pen Prevails. I just hope, I don't want people to give their business to shady businesses like this company here. The fact they turned off reviews tells me they're hiding something, and what they're hiding is the return shipping. So take that for what you will and have fun fishing.